the split of the Red Sea, they actually saw it themselves. Everyone saw it. How do they see it? But it says all the water split all over. If you drink a cup of water and then all of a sudden the water splits. So everyone heard about it. Everyone was scared. They were petrified from the Yidden. And then Amalek came and he called everyone off. He said, yeah, you can start with Yidden. Look, he showed a way. And the example was given, like there's a bath that was boiling water. And then no, everyone was afraid to go, you can burn yourself. One guy jumped in, he burnt himself, but now he called it off other people. So, anyways, there's a lot more discussion of Chassidus about Amalek, how Amalek connects to us. Being called off for mitzvahs. Sometimes you have the Amalek comes to and tells you, okay, do mitzvahs, Hashem said so, but don't be so excited, take it easy, it's not done. Whatever, there's a lot more about it. In any case, a mitzvah to hear Pasha Zachar for men and women. There are those that say that halachas men are obligated. There's the opinion that women are not, but halachas men that women are obligated to hear Pasha Zachar. Reason why some say they're not obligated is because there's two mitzvahs: to remember and then to destroy them when we're able to. The mitzvah of destroying Amalek is not incumbent on the women; that's on the men. So that's why there's such opinion. Halachas everyone has to hear and show from minyan, from a kosher sefer Torah. And again, just an interesting point, like we spoke before, regarding we spoke about kiddush, about a young bar mitzvah boy who just became bar mitzvah can't say kiddush for women who didn't daven. So also Pasha Zachar, if that's his bar mitzvah Pasha, he could lead his bar mitzvah Pasha, but he can't do Pasha Zachar. Now, what happens if you didn't hear Pasha Zachar? You weren't at shul, you're not able to make it. B'di'evet, you could be yotze on Purim. Purim, I hate some Purim. Purim, we hear the Megillah. Well, on Purim, we also read the Torah. Before we read the Megillah, during the day, this Kriyas HaTorah, we read the Torah. And in the Torah, we read the Pasha of Amalek. Not the same Pasha that we read this Shabbos, Pasha Zachar, different Pasha, but it's also about Amalek. So that's why it's not L'chatchila, meaning you can't L'chatchila say, I'll just go to Shalom Purim. No. L'chatchila has to be this Shabbos. But b'di'evet, if you weren't able to, then there are people that say Kiyos b'yotze on Purim. And again, because it's a different, why not L'chatchila? It has to be Shabbos? No, because it's not exactly the same Pasha. In the Pasha of Pasha Zach, they read Shabbos, it starts with, remember what Amalek did. The Pasha read on Purim speaks about Amalek, it doesn't have the words, remember what Amalek did. It speaks about Amalek, so some say, that Pasha is not, you can't do a mitzvah with, but with the Evid, if you didn't do it on this Shabbos, then you yotze on Purim. However, we spoke about kavana. This will be kavana, intention. So they're coming. Let's see, you didn't have Pasha Amalek, Pasha Zachar, and you're coming to Purim. You're coming to show on Purim, and you're going to hear the Kriyas HaTorah during the day. Then you're going to hear the Megillah reading, because you want to hear Pasha Zachar. And yeah, you heard Pasha Zachar. Yeah, good enough. Well, you have to have kavana. Okay, so I'm going to come to show. I'm going to have kavana when I hear the reading of the Torah to be yotze Pasha Zachar. But what else is missing? What else could be missing? Anyone? No? What else can be missing that you won't be yotze? We spoke about this. The one who's reading the Torah.
They have to have you in mind.
Does he know about it? Does he know that it's to be? The Kriyas HaTorah on Purim is not about doing the mitzvah of Pasha Zachar. So he has to have in mind those who did not hear Pasha Zachar. The same as the Shabbos too. Let's say people come to shul randomly. They always come to shul. Men, wherever, and they hear Pasha Zachar. Come up with shul and they talk about Pasha Zachar. Yeah, I heard Pasha Zachar. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, this week is Pasha Zachar. Yeah. Oh yeah, I wasn't sure. I heard Pasha Zachar. Did he know that there's a mitzvah to hear Pasha Zachar? He didn't do any mitzvah because he has to have kavanah to do the mitzvah. They actually announce where I lean. I make sure they announce for leaning. Everyone should have kavanah to be yaitze to do the mitzvah of Pasha Zachar. Yeah.
You're saying like if you miss Parshat Zachar, then like the dia that you could hear on Purim.
Yeah.
But like what if Purim's not on Shabbat? You keep saying like you're saying like anytime when people read the Torah on Purim. I thought you were saying like Shabbat Purim. I was thinking.
No. On Purim.
Okay,
on Purim, we read the Megillah night and day. During the day, before the Megillah reading, we read the Torah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Got it? Then comes Tainus Esther. Tainus Esther, this year's Thursday. So, the night before the fast, make sure to eat well, to hydrate yourself. Now, sometimes people want to wake up in the morning, they want to wake up early, before dawn, to eat or drink. You have to have intention that you want to do that, meaning you cannot, okay, you woke up early morning, you went to sleep, you're going to sleep. What time do you usually wake up? I wake up 7 o'clock, okay. Oh, you wake up 5 in the morning. Oh, perfect. Let me drink something. And what were you thinking before you went to sleep? What was I thinking? I was thinking I'm going to sleep for the whole night. You didn't have it in mind. That means you're ready, sort of ready took on the fast. You can't drink in the morning. You have to have in mind when you go to sleep that you might, you will, you might, whatever, wake up to eat and drink. Now, who is exempt from fasting? Pregnant women, nursing women, a woman who just gave birth. It's part of fasting. But Tainus Esther is the most lenient fast. So even people who aren't feeling well, which usually they have to fast, not feeling well, it doesn't say anything. It's a very broad term, not feeling well. Being someone who's is a little under the weather, because if someone is really sick in bed, they don't have to fast, other fasts too. Even Tisha B'Av is a discussion if we're straight, depending how sick they are, but if someone who's not well and they're in bed, they're weak, they don't have to fast. You're talking about someone who's a little under the weather, not feeling great, is technically exempt from fasting Tainus Esther. However, don't make a decision yourself if you're in that situation. Discuss with it up. It doesn't mean just any little thing. It means that there has to be something there the person is not feeling well. It doesn't have to be to the extent where they're in bed, because then they're even exempt on Shivas B'Tammuz, 17th day of Tammuz, or the 10th day of Tavis. Yeah.
If a person sometimes fasts well and sometimes faints, should they speak to a Rav to see like, okay,
They shouldn't fast. And Tainus Esther, they for sure shouldn't fast.
even if sometimes they fast well?
But sometimes they faint. They shouldn't fast. The other fast days is a discussion. Then we have to get more details. Why do they so? Really, it's a case by case. What do you mean sometimes? You say sometimes they fast well, sometimes they faint. It's usually dependent on something. There's no correlation with what was going on the day before, how much did they eat and sleep, how much stress were they under. No, it's random. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So if it's random, it could happen. Person could faint. It's mamish random, just like that. They could sometimes faint.
Like,
And let me ask you, if they don't faint, then they're 100% functioning through the day, and they just happen to faint sometimes,
no,
or the whole day that even if they don't faint, then it's probably miserable.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tainus Esther, they for sure don't have to fast. And other fast days need to discuss, but it's not relevant now. Interesting halacha. A chosim and kala don't have to fast on the fast of Esther. Other fast days they do. Tainus Esther is an eating fast. You don't have to fast. So if you book your wedding, you might want to use that. Okay. Times the base. Now, there's something else we do on Tainus Esser, which is machzis hashekel, a half a shekel. We give, there's a meaning to give a half a shekel to tzedakah. That is, the men give a half a shekel to tzedakah, and the meaning is to give 3. Where does it come from? It comes from the times the Beis Hamikdash. Times the Beis Hamikdash, they would give, all the men over 20 would give machzis a shekel, half a coin of silver to the Beis Hamikdash. Yeah.
What's today's equivalent to half a shekel?
We don't know the custom. Okay, so the custom is we give half of the currency. So we're not giving half a shekel. We're giving half of the currency. Half of the coin of what is the currency. We give $50 just to commemorate. The actual value of a half a shekel, well, what is the value? There's no meaning to give that value actually, because the meaning is we use 3 shekel and give $1.50 and we buy it. But technically the value of a shekel is a shekel is about 1 ounce of silver, so half is a half ounce of silver, but there's no meaning to give that amount of tzedakah. Maybe to those that are strict, I haven't really looked into these details this year. But for the main part, this is how it's done. No, people give $1.50 because those who are collecting have the 3.5 coins, 3.5 silver dollars, and they buy the coins and they put it back into the pushkin. Where does it come from? It comes from the times of the Beis Hamikdash. They would bring sacrifices in the Beis Hamikdash, and the sacrifices were there for atonement for the Jewish people. The sacrifices in the Beis Hamikdash were atonement for all the Yidden. So, they weren't all called sin offerings, but there was the karbanis that were brought every day in the Beis Hamikdash, the karban tamid in the morning, karban tamid in the afternoon. But the purpose of the sacrifice in the Beis Hamikdash was to atone for the sin of the golden calf, the Chet Egel. And that is why only the men had the obligation in times of Beis Hamikdash to give a half a shekel, because they were the ones involved in the Chet Egel, not the women. And it was over 20 that had the obligation. Now, the custom is that we give Master Shekel to commemorate this that was done during the times of the Beis Hamikdash. And the custom, now the question is, does this custom apply also to women? There's a machlokes if this custom applies to women also. One opinion says it doesn't because they were not involved in the sin of the golden calf. Some say they should because it's to commemorate what they did back then. But anyways, it's a machlokes if women are obligated to do this mitzvah of giving Master Shekel these days. What is the accepted practice? The accepted practice is that the father will give for himself, give for his wife, then give for all the family. If you're not in that, if that's not, that situation doesn't cover you, then again, there's a machlokes if women are obligated. If you want to do it, it's a good thing to do, but it's a machlokes, so if you have no one giving for you, it's a good thing to do. Yeah.
You said the husband is going, or the father, third wife in the family, like if you offer it to boys under 20, like
He does it for everyone. He does it for all the boys under bar mitzvah and for all the girls. And the boys over bar mitzvah do it on their own. He also does it for his wife that's pregnant. Meaning, what do you mean? Meaning for the fetus too, for the wife, and also like for the fetus, like kaparis, same thing. Okay, so the reason, so why are we doing this? It's the commemorate they did back then. Back then, they did it in the month of Adar, the whole month of Adar, so we also do it in the month of Adar. But we do it the day before Purim, on Tainus Esther. Why is it done the day before Purim? So it says, because Haman went to Chashverish And he told Chashish, I want to buy off all the Jews to, God forbid, get rid of them. And he gave a huge amount of silver coins. And when he did that, it's brought in the Gemara that Hashem was, so to say, laughing at him and saying that the coins, the half shkalim of the Jews, the silver coins, preceded your coins. So you have no chance. So that's the reason why we do the minhag, specifically the day before Purim. There is a Indian, I was going to say mitzvah. Mitzvah sounds like it's an obligation, but it's a proper thing to wear Shabbos clothes on Purim. Purim is a Yom Tov, especially for the reading of the Megillah. It seems that's really the main idea of wearing Bigdei Shabbos. So it says you should wear Bigdei Shabbos in honor of the Megillah. The minhag also to dress up. But so it seems that actually the minhag of dressing up ideally is not really during the Megillah reading. It's really during the Megillah reading if they wear Bigdei Shabbos. But in actuality, this is what you see people doing. Kids come dressed up to the Megillah, and it's not something that's wrong. In other words, there's certain things that we say, no, it's wrong. You're not allowed. This is the ideal situation that by Megillah reading supposed to be wearing Shabbos clothing. Which I encourage my kids if they would get dressed Shabbos, they can later put on their costume or whatever they got dressed up in. But most people don't, that's how it is. So it's fine. It's not something that we have to make an issue about, but we have to know that the ideal situation is that for Megillah reading, you're putting on Shabbos clothing and costumes and everything else you want to do to get dressed up. That should be really needed. On a regular fasting, when it comes mincha, we say tachna. We say tachna, especially in the fasting. And then there's also Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu that we say in the fasting. But when it's Tainus Esther, because Tainus Esther is right the day before Purim, so that means mincha on Tainus Esther is Erev Purim. Like Erev Shabbos, we don't say tachna. So Tainus Esther mincha is an exception to other fast days where we insert Aneinu in the Dan Shemini Esrei for fasting, and we say Tachna and the Malkeinu. Now it's just Shemini Esrei, and that's it. There's no Tachna. The exception is when Purim is on Sunday, and we fatten Tainus Esther on Thursday. Then Mincha, you have a full Mincha with Tachna and Aneinu. So the fast is over, and then comes the Megillah reading. In other words, the proper thing is that we don't eat or drink until after the Megillah reading. The reason is just like before Shema, and that is pointing to the men, obligated to say Shema. They're not supposed to have a meal before they say Shema, meaning the night Shema, which is part of Ma'ariv. According to Allah, there are exceptions if you have an established minyan, whatever, but l'chatchila, you're not supposed to, in other words, in a regular situation, they're not supposed to be washing for a meal before they daven Ma'ariv because of Shema. To have a snack is okay, according to halacha. Even the night of Purim, after the fast is over, according to halacha, one is allowed to have a snack. They can drink coffee or a fruit, something, before the Megillah reading. But that's according to halacha, we're saying. However, it's brought down in Svarim that the Chatchila, again, the most proper thing is that we should not be eating or drinking anything before Megillah reading. Which tells us also that if someone is, he fasted all day and he feels very weak and it's very difficult for him, then it's okay. Let him take a coffee, let him take a drink, let him take something. Not obligated to knock himself out. It's not, like a continuation of the fast. So it really depends how you feel. If you feel you can handle it, yes, that's the most proper way to do it, is to wait till after Megillah reading. You feel that it's just, you're going over serious nefesh over here, you don't have to, you could just take a coffee, take something, you should be able to function, be able to concentrate and listen to the Megillah, that's 100% okay. Now, when you hear the Megillah, you have to know that you need to hear every single word. Make sure, probably will be here, they set you up, they tell you where to go, maybe they have some reading for you, but it's something to know for the future also. Hashem, go here, you get married, go here, go there. Then comes Megillah reading. Then, there's the show you're going to go to, which you never went to before, and you come in there and they're reading the Megillah, and you can't hear the Balkeda because he's not loud, and there's noisy. Okay, you're so used to, till now, So you have to be aware that when it comes to hear the Megillah, make sure you know where you're going to. Is the show a proper show? Usually the Balkeda is loud, but you want to make sure, sometimes you have shows where it's very noisy, and there's children there making a lot of noise, and it's not proper to bring children that disturb the Megillah reading. If you have a child that's going to disturb, then you don't bring them to shul, and you find a different way how to hear Megillah reading. There's other Megillah readings later on at night. Day is easier, the night day there's much more Megillah readings, but still, it's not proper to bring children that will disturb other people hearing the Megillah. And again, even if you miss one word from the Megillah, according to most opinions, you have not done the mitzvah. What could you do if you miss a word? So there is the ideal situation, which is if you have a kosher Megillah, let's say, most people don't, some people do. And another thing is, which is also the ideal situation where you can hear where you're able to read from the Megillah. You're not a read from the Megillah without vowels. And also another hypothetical situation that the Bakayah is not reading very fast. He's reading slow, and you're able to actually keep up with him and read together with him. And then if you could keep up with him and you're reading from your kosher Megillah with him, so even if you miss a word, but you read the word yourself in the Megillah, that's a hypothetical situation. What does it mean?
I was just going to ask if that's how you do it. Like if you're reading, I was going to ask if that's the way.
That's how I do it, or how you're supposed to do it.
The way you just explained how we're supposed, we can't do it.
So the ideal situation is, it says that you have a kosher Megillah and you're reading together with the Balked. You know that read and can keep up with him. Let's say that. Now you miss a word. Look, you're reading from a kosher Megillah. Big deal.
Yeah, but usually,
That's like the idea. Now we're going to go to what's more realistic.
usually we're not, usually only the one reading on kosher Megillah, right? We just have like a pamphlet that has the same.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. Especially by the men, there are a nice amount of people who have kosher Megillahs.
Okay.
Yeah,
But they're the same thing.
the following Megillah. Yeah.
So it-
Now, even if you have a kosher Megillah, again, not everyone is able to read and follow, and it goes very fast. So I once had a situation, it was interesting, which I learned from it. I was reading together with the Balkeda, like it says, you read quietly to yourself. And so afterwards came out and said that I was disturbing him because he's trying to hear the Balkeda and he hears me. And I was thinking to myself, it's such a lot that you should read quietly with the Balkeda. Maybe it was not too loud, but I was trying to read with the Balkeda. And I was thinking to myself afterwards, this is what you're supposed to do. So I realized afterwards that the issue is because when you read with the Balkeda, not necessarily could you read every word together simultaneously. So you're keeping up with him, but you're not necessarily in the same place. So I realized that practically it disturbed him because he's hearing and then he's hearing, and not simultaneously, because even if Al-Qaeda is going fast. So if Al-Qaeda would go slow, but going fast. I'm keeping up with him. So I'm not necessarily reading together the same, it's a little off, right? So he's saying here, he's hearing me. So I realized that this idea of reading the Al-Qaeda is not necessarily, you have to be careful of it. Anyways. Now, So what else could you do? Oh, so something that is practical is, and this could be either if you have a Megillah or a Chumash. So ideally with a Megillah. Let's say you will have a Megillah one day, yeah, and so you're not going to read with the Al-Qaeda because you have to keep up with it. Al-Qaeda goes fast, but then there is when they bang humming. They bang humming. Then when they bang humming, there's a break. Now during the time of the bang humming, you could continue reading if you know how to read the words without the vowels. Let's say, continue reading another few words, finish another pasuk. What's the advantage? The advantage is because many times what happens is they're bang humming, and everyone stops. Okay, continues. But as the Makeda continues, the song who didn't finish yet, banging, all of a sudden, bang! Like you hear a gunshot, or you hear something like a loud pound, and you could miss a word. But now you already read that word. Now, you can also read it if you're reading with the Makeda, fine. But sometimes, like you said before, reading with the Makeda doesn't always work. So that's something that can be done if you have a kosher Megillah, then for sure you can do it. But even if you don't have a kosher Megillah, you have a Chumash, you could also do that. Why are you supposed to read from Megillah out of a Chumash? But it says a few words you could make up from a Chumash. So you read ahead in your Chumash, and what is that? You're going to miss a few words? A few words, but the evidence says you could make up to read from a Chumash. Not the entire Megillah, but a few words you could. You have a similar idea also in terms of the idea that a few words is okay, which is interesting. You can't miss a word, but you could make up a few words from a Chumash. And also something interesting about a Megillah. If someone has a Megillah and the Megillah is not kosher, the Sefer Torah is not kosher, it's missing words, it's something erased, it's a problem. A Megillah, if it's missing words and it's still kosher Megillah. That's a bit ironic. It's missing a word in the Megillah, it's a kosher Megillah. But if you don't hear one word, you're not Yotzer. But the same idea that Megillah is called a letter, that's why. So the same idea, it's missing words in the Megillah, it's okay. You didn't hear some words from the Al-Qaeda. If you make up with it and you read it from a Chumash, that's also fine.
You have to read it like the same tune and like the Megillah, it can't just like say the word.
You say the word, same tune.
I don't know, some words like.
There has a tune, but you're not familiar with the tune.
Okay.
According to Allah, you're just hearing the words. Obviously, the Makeda has to read the tune, and that's what he does. I mean, if you know the tune and you're able to read it with the tune quietly, then it's fine. It'll be great. But the main thing is to hear every single word. That's the main thing. You had a question, right? No? Anyway. Now, you come home from shul, and you're like, I missed a few words. These things happen sometimes. So what do? Well, you're not Yitzhak Megillah because you're missing a few words, right? Okay, so I'm going to go to another show and I'm going to hear those words, right? Well, no, why not?
You have to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing again. So let's say you're missing you missed a few words. There's 9 chapters. 10. The 10th one is this tiny words. So you missed a few words in chapter 8. So you have to go to another show and hear the entire Megillah again, right? Right? No. No. You have to hear from where you missed until the end. From where you missed until the end. Why? Just what you missed. Why from where you missed until the end? You have to hear from where you missed until the end? Can you just hear what you missed?
Because if it's not in chronological
Huh?
and it's not in chronological order.
Correct. You have to hear the Megillah in the correct order, the way it's written. So you missed something in chapter 8, you have to hear from where you missed until the end. You missed something in the first chapter, from the beginning until the end. So if you miss towards the end, it's a little easier. Just have to start from where you missed until then.
not sure where you missed, but you remember missing a word, should you just listen to the whole thing again?
Well, it wasn't from the first person. You probably have an idea approximately where it was. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not sure, you start from the beginning. But if you know it was somewhere, it was sure not in the first chapter. It was somewhere in the second chapter. So start in the second chapter, wherever you are, yeah. Usually people keep track. I guess that would happen so many times. Yes, it happened a few times. You can track what there's a pshat from the Baal Shem Tov. It says, so this halacha that if you don't read the Megillah in the right order, you're not Yetzer. It says the literal translation of the Mishnayos about this halacha is if you read the Megillah, the Mafreya means from before, backwards. Mafreya means from before, meaning going backwards. You're not Yetzer. So Hashem gives a deeper pshat that if you read the Megillah, the Mafreya, because literally means from before, but it means backwards. He explains from before, meaning that you say that you say to yourself that the miracle of Purim, and there's the Megillah, the miracle of Purim, is something from the past. It has no, of course we celebrate it, but it has no relevance to now. And it says, then you don't understand what Purim is all about. You have to understand that the miracle of Purim is relevant to now. What happened Purim is relevant to every single generation. What do we learn from Purim? We learn many things from Purim. One of the things we learn from Purim is from Esther. What was Esther's approach to the decree of Haman, decree of Achashverosh? What was Esther's approach dealing with this decree against the Yidden? Well, her approach was she's going to go save the Yidden. She's going to go to Achashverosh, the queen. She's going to war on behalf of the Yidden. Okay. Now, when you have to go places and you have to make an impression and be able to convince them, it would be logical that she should take care of herself. She could go and make an impression to the king, right? Instead, she's fasting for 3 days. Fasting for 3 days doesn't help too much with putting an impression and so on. So, but she realized that the decree came because of a reason. It came from Hashem. It came from Ma'ila. It came from above because of something that the Jews have to correct. The first step was she told Mordechai, gather all the Yidden, I'm going to do tshuva, and she fasted. Then obviously you have to make a keli down here. So then she went, she got dressed, she did whatever she could. But step one was not just, okay, she's going to make sure, take care of herself for 3 days and make sure she eats well and sleeps well and takes care of herself and does everything she's supposed to do. She should come and look good for the king. No. First she did what's approach was tshuva and fasting. And then she made a keli what she has to do. That's a lesson for every generation. Whenever something, God forbid, there's trouble happening with the Yidden, you have to realize, we have to make a keli. We have to do what we have to do. We have to realize that there's something going on that we need to do tshuva for. Okay. Continue next week, Mitzvah Shem. Shabbos, everyone. Yeah.
Renajewski was asking if you were out.
Oh, thank you.
I'm supposed to get to shows where I don't have an option to not go to shows. Then I'm helping someone get their kids to shows. Really. So I'm like, okay, perfect. If I know she needs my help, then I'll have to get out of that. Oh yeah, that's how it goes.
I'm gonna get from whoa.
Okay, but then I have an external motivation to like get me out the door, you know?
Yeah.
But also, yes, more work. My brain goes. I know what to do because stuff well. Oh, yeah. I actually.
In your coast.
No. I'm trying to go. My phone?
Also, we didn't ask Rabbi Osdoba. Look at it, takes off.
Is that what?
Your coast.
Oh my god.